Hi, my dancers. I'm gonna go to this bar over here and do some leg stretches on the bar and demonstrate the hows, the whatnots, the what tos, and all that good stuff. Now, if you don't have a bar, I know a lot of you don't have a bar at home, you can use a countertop, you can use a table, you can use a chair that's stable, something that you feel safe with, that doesn't move, the back of the couch. There you go. We're working on form and technique of it, so if it's not something that you feel is high enough for you in that sense, then you can do your floor stretches at home, obviously. But this is for the basic what to do's and what not to do's at the bar, what to look for, while you're standing there, what you should be feeling or not feeling. Okay, here I go. Okay. In order to place yourself onto the bar, you could never just be like, whatever that is, okay? You don't want to do that. You want to go through your passe and develop your leg on the bar. Now, if you would like, you can plie at the same time. If you want to keep your form as you place your leg on the bar, that's fine. Okay, you want to notice your form once you're standing there. You see how I'm standing like this? Yes, my leg is on the bar, but notice that my aplomb, my center, is not good. If I run my line to my nose, chin, belly button, and heel, my heel, it's not there. So when you're standing with a full foot on the floor, okay, you're actually going to end up with your thigh kind of a little bit more over your standing foot than you would think. So it's almost like it's on a slight angle, okay? Now I'm going to check my line, nose, chin, belly button. There it is. I have found my aplomb. I am centered in my stance at the bar. Now, my working leg, even though this leg's always working, this is referred to as the working leg. This is the supporting leg. Okay, so my working leg is turned out. I want to make sure that it's going to stay just like this, no matter what I do, whether I rise, stretch, whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm going to maintain my turnout the entire time at the bar. Yes? Okay. So, check always to see that your weight is all the way forward, and you can feel the weight on all 5 of your toes at all times. That means you're always ready to rise. Let's think of it in terms of a point shoe. Everything you do in a slipper goes to that level of things. So if you're in a slipper, you always have to think in terms of point shoe. Can I rise? That is always a question. Now, if you were here, you would not be able to rise. I mean, yes, you can rise, but you're not technically correct with your lines. Remember, ballet is all about lines and shapes. So you pull back, you find your line, and you check that you can rise. And then you know that you are centered. Okay, now we talked about both legs and what they should be doing. Obviously, the foot is pointed as pointed as possible in the outward way, where the pinky toe is outward, but your foot is going forward. Forward and out. Okay, so now we're going to plie. As we plie, we are going to make sure that our knee is going to go over our toes, okay? It's not going to go inward. See how that folded inward? Kind of changes my stance, really, my form. It just kind of disappeared. And that will cause problems with knees and ankles later in life. You have to think about that. All right, so knees outward and over your toes. As you lift out of your chest and lengthen your spine. Here you go, okay? So I just successfully plied while lifting. Here's the elongation, right? There you go. Okay, now I'm going to rise. I'm going to rise. All I'm going to do is push that floor. Pushing the floor, and I will rise. In the meantime, everything else, all my other principles are in place. My shoulders are down, my chest is out, my chin is up, my back is long. And then I'll return, just like that. Now I'm going to stretch. When I stretch, I'm going to reach outward. I'm going to make the biggest semicircle I can over my head while I'm still inside. This is my semicircle, right, that I'm making. I'm not only making it with this line, if you look, right, it's like a moon, okay? I'm also making a circle within myself. So this is half of my circle, obviously this is the other. When you are stretching with one arm, you want to stay inside while you draw your semicircle, you want to stay inside your own semicircle as you stretch over. Your body should still face the bar this whole time. We're working in second position at the bar, so your body needs to face this way. So what tends to happen is you tend to pull a shoulder back or twist it, and you cannot do that. Your shoulders need to stay completely across from each other as you stretch over. At the same time, you're pressing this hip downward to maintain your turnout and maintain complete stability of this leg at the bar. Also, reflecting upon the standing leg, that you're still maintaining all of your forwardness on the balls of your feet. See, there's a lot to think about, right? All right, so we stretch out, up, and over. Now, here's the final position that I'll be in. Your goal, of course, is to stretch further, 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 further into it while maintaining your hips are squared and straight. Your body's facing the bar. You're not twisting in your shoulders. And all that good stuff. Okay, so here we are. We are here. Then we return. When we return, we want to draw as long of a line as we did in the first place to reverse our semicircle over our heads. And then we switch. Now we're going to reach out and over our toes because we want our semicircle to be as long as possible. So we reach beyond our working leg, up and over, staying inside our circle, staying centered, and not moving anything else on our body as we stretch away. More so, you're going to have to press down in this hip and hold this leg and engage to keep complete control while the fluidity works out of your back, shoulders, and arm. Everything else is stationary. Your center stays exactly where it is because you're not traveling, you're not going anywhere, so this part of your body needs to stay silent. Good? All right, now we're going to face our leg. When we face our leg, now our front is turning. So this was our front, now our fourth position front faces our leg. When you do that, now this is a more difficult position because what happens is the back wants to kind of curl under, you can't let that happen. Or you over twist on top without matching. Everything needs to stay straight, so you need to make sure that your hips are going in the same direction as your leading or working leg, which is right now in front of us. Your standing leg, of course, is in its turnout and supporting you all the way to the front. Remember, you always have to rise no matter what position you're in. And you place your arm in the high fifth position here. Your shoulders are down, your chests are out, your chins are up, and you're ready to bend. Now, when you bend, you have to really exaggerate the lift on the top so your bottom doesn't curl under you like this. Because then everything else starts to kind of fold in. And you don't want to fold, okay? You want to lift and elongate and stretch. So as you bend, you're going to lift. So everything stays long in your back and long in your legs. Yes? And of course, we can just push to rise. All right. Then we're going to stretch over our leading leg. Now we're going to try to keep our back long from the base of our spine all the way up the vertebrae to the top. And we're going to keep everything in line. Hand, neck, head, back. It works together. Arm, arm. Okay, so here we go. We're staying straight and squared, and we're going to stretch. We're going to reach beyond our toes. It's not until we can't hold it anymore that we release it. And then we can hold that stretch there. But remember, try not to let your body face the bar because now you're defeating the purpose of the stretch we're trying to make. You should feel it in the outside of your legs more than anything else. And of course, in your back. Yes? All right, so let's do that again. We're going to reach. Reach, 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 reach. And then you hold your stretch there. So that's the fourth position. So we did second, we did fourth. Okay, now let's go to the arabesque. Okay, arabesque is painful, okay, to say the least. It takes a lot of flexion, and you really, really need to lift up. Now, the flexion for the arabesque, most of the time, the development of the back, this part of the stretch, is what the problem is. So you'll end up with bending your leg, right? Or you have way too heavy muscle on top, which makes it hard for the leg to extend or look like it's extended all the way in straight position. Your weight has to be forward. In this position, more forward than you think. Because if I had a point shoe on and I'm back here, I will never be able to rise on it. So I have to pull my weight forward. Remember the angle that we had when we were in second position over our toes with the side of our leg? Well, now what happens is when you go into an arabesque position, the front of your leg needs to be forward and over your toes. And that's how that works. And you lift into your high fifth position, and you hold. And you stretch and stretch and stretch. You are going to feel it here, mostly. Some of you still working on your flexor in the front of your hip may feel it there. But most of the time it's this part of your back that needs to work itself into this stretch. Okay, let's try again. Let's rotate, turn around, pull ourselves forward, position ourselves, and lift. Lifting, 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 lifting. Lifting, lifting, lifting. And we do that repeatedly and all the time, and each time the stretch will increase and get better and easier and less painful. And obviously everything that you do on the right, you will do on the left, keeping all of these things in mind, all of the principles in addition to focusing on what it feels like to be in each of the positions. So if you purposely put yourself in a wrong position and say, hey, this is what that feels like, then put yourself in the proper position and say, hey, this is what this feels like. And you'll know your body placement by memory after a while. So like I said, everything you did on the right, of course you do on the left. And that's it for now. Until the next lesson. You just got yourself some homework.